Today, I'm going to share with you 10 eye-opening sales statistics that every freight broker needs to know. Now, as you all know, we are in freight brokers and freight agents are selling to other businesses. That's classified as a B2B sale. An important part of growing a highly profitable and sustainable freight brokerage is the sales component. It's a very important piece of this. So I want to share with you 10 important stats that you understand. Number one on the list, and these are in no discernible order, 92% of all customer interaction happens over the phone. So if you are afraid of the phone, or you are afraid of doing outreach via the phone, cold calling, warm calling, or whatever you want to call it, whatever your strategy is, you need to get over that, because the phone is the number one tool of any freight broker or freight agent. Okay. So you need to learn how to effectively prospect over the phone. Again, I teach cold calling, I teach warm calling, I teach a variety of different strategies, but getting your prospects' attention and asking the right questions is critical. That's an important part of what I go over in what's going to be launching very soon. Again, you're going to hear me mention this multiple times in my new Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program. Stick around here because I'm going to give you an opportunity to learn more information about that. But that is statistic number one. 92% of all customer interactions happen over the phone. Very important that you understand that. All right. Number two, it takes an average of 8 cold call attempts to reach a prospect. Now, that's just to get in touch with them. So you may have to do outreach 8 times just to get them on the phone. That means you might have to dial the phone, or a combination of email, or a combination of LinkedIn, but you're going to have to do 8 different outreaches on average before you're going to get that prospect on the phone. So what you need to understand, I get it. Prospecting is hard. Sales can be challenging, particularly when you're brand new. But if you give up on prospect after just making a couple of calls, obviously you're not putting the statistics, you're not putting the numbers in your favor. And you're passing up on the potential of a huge sale, right? You're passing up on the potential of a great opportunity and a great customer. So you have to be persistent. You have to be determined, right? You need to know this going in. And the key is to understand this upfront and to get your mindset correct. And again, mindset is an important part of that new Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program that I'm going to be launching again and opening enrollment for very, very soon. Again, stick around to the end for more details on how to learn about that Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program. Okay. All right. Number three is the best time to cold call is between 4 and 5 p.m. Whatever their local time is, it's between 4 and 5 p.m. Why is that? Well, I don't know exactly why, but statistically, that's the numbers. But intuitively, I say to myself, why would it be more effective to call at 4 or 5 p.m.? Well, a couple of things. Think about it. Shipping manager, logistics manager, traffic manager comes in the morning. They're inundated with emails. They've got all kinds of problems. They got all kinds of issues. So sometimes the morning, the AM, is challenging to get them on the phone because they're putting out fires. Now, around lunchtime, it's going to be challenging to get them on the phone because, again, they're taking a break and they may not want to answer the phone. But what I find is at the end of the day, they're back at their desk. They're accessible to a phone. And you can then sometimes get them on the phone. More importantly, what happens is all your competitors, all the other brokers have already hung it up for the day and quit. So they're not getting a bunch of calls from other brokers, and you can break through the noise. So that's my example, my reason, again, why the best time to call is between 4 and 5 p.m. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to call in the morning or the afternoon. It just means that statistically speaking, the best time to reach a prospect in the B2B sales is between 4 and 5 p.m. All right. All right. So number 4, 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls after you get in touch with them, after you do your first cold call, after you start developing rapport and you guys start building a relationship. So it takes 5 follow-ups, okay, after that meeting, after that initial meeting, to get the sale. Right? 80% of sales require a minimum of 5 follow-ups, and 44% of sales reps give up after 1 follow-up. So that means they went through the effort to get that person on the phone, cold calling them or warm calling them or emailing them or whatever the case may be. They started the dialogue and then they failed to follow up and therefore they never got the sale. So you've all heard the old adage, the fortune's in the follow-up, right? So this is an important one that you have to understand. Very important. They make the mistake of not following up. And that is probably one of the number one reasons why people don't get the sale, why freight brokers don't get the sale. They don't get their clients because they don't have a proven system or a strategy or tools to make sure that they effectively follow up with their prospects. Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5, salespeople who actively seek out and exploit referrals earn 4 to 5 times more than those who don't. You guys have heard me talk about it before. Develop a referral program where you're paying people, you're paying drivers and carriers and shippers and anybody inside the industry or who knows anybody in the industry a recurring referral commission. If they do become your customer, referrals are incredibly powerful. And again, statistically speaking, salespeople that actively seek out referrals earn 4 to 5 times more than people that don't. Right? So it's just a simple numbers game. Referrals are obviously a much easier sales process because you automatically have rapport and credibility coming in because you're being referred in by somebody that already knows the prospect, right? So it automatically changes the sales process. Their guard is down and it's a lot easier to build rapport, get their attention, and move that sale along. Okay, so I hope that helps. All right, next. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6, 78% of salespeople use social media to outsell their peers. Okay, so top producers use social media to outperform their peers. Now, many of you, my favorite place to go on social media for business is LinkedIn. I'm not sure if you guys are on LinkedIn, but you may have heard my story. My brokerage leveraged LinkedIn to generate over $20 million a year in annual recurring revenue for my business. And that all came through LinkedIn. LinkedIn became our primary channel for building that business. Again, I grew that company to over $80 million a year in sales. And there was over $20 million a year in annual recurring revenue that came just from that LinkedIn channel. So social selling can be a powerful tool when it's done right. And again, an important part of this new Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program that I'm launching is that social selling component, is that LinkedIn component. It's not only me that's had that success. We've had other students like Mike Burke and Lita Hakabayan, as well as many others that have went on and used LinkedIn as a great tool and asset to help grow their business. So again, 78% of salespeople use social media to outsell their peers. That's number 6. Number 7, retaining customers is 6 to 7 times less costly than acquiring new ones. Now, let that sink in for a minute, people. Let that sink in. Retaining current customers is 6 to 7 times less costly than acquiring new ones. Now, what do I mean by that? And what's the point here? The point is that you as a broker or you as an agent or you as a salesperson in general, you go out and you take all this time and energy to acquire a customer and you get that first load, you move that first load. And then rather than focusing on developing that relationship and enhancing, expanding that relationship, you get too busy focusing on other prospects and you fail to retain that client. You start taking that client for granted. And when you do that, what happens is the client is going to tell. All of a sudden, you are real anxious about doing business with them, and then you're not responding to them effectively. You're not getting back to them in a timely manner. You're having service issues, right? So it's 6 to 7 times less expensive to retain an existing client than it is to get a new one. Getting new clients is challenging and costly. I've already explained to you a little bit about that. So when you do get a client, it's critical that you focus on account development and retention. And that's a very important piece of my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program. There's nobody else in the industry that does sales training. And the ones that do, specific to freight brokerage, and the ones that do, they don't talk about account retention and development. That's a really, really important component of the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, which we're going to be talking about towards the end here, okay? All right, so that was number 7. Number 8, the average company loses 10 to 30% of their customers each year. Again, let that sink in, people. The average company loses 10 to 30% of their customers each year. And with some companies, they lose even more because they're not providing the level of service and value that they need to. So what that means is you can never stop prospecting, right? If you ever run into a situation where you're saying to yourself, I don't have enough time to prospect because I'm too busy working on my existing clients. Number one, that's a high quality problem. Number two, that's BS. If you don't have time, then you need to figure out a way to hire somebody or to build your team in a way that they can support you with those other customers so that you can continue to prospect. You need to continue to fill that sales funnel regardless of how many customers you have, because you have to understand there's going to be a certain amount of attrition every year. Again, statistically speaking, between 10 and 30% of your customers, you're going to lose every single year. Now, you don't know if that's your biggest customers or your smallest customers. Hopefully they're the small ones, but ultimately it can have a huge impact on your revenue if you don't continue to prospect. Very, very important. So we talk a lot about that in the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. We talk a lot about, about keeping your funnel full and the entire sales process, right? We give you an entire system, a proven system that allows you to do that. Okay. All right. So that's a number 8, I think. Number 9, I'm not even sure if there is 10. I think there's only 9. I may have misnumbered these, but 55% of people making their living in sales, not necessarily just freight brokers, but making their living in sales, don't have the right skills to be successful. So you see a lot of salespeople in a variety of different industries, whether you're in the insurance industry or the real estate industry or the tech industry or the logistics industry or the financial services industry, whatever industry you're in, the majority of salespeople do not have the right tools and skills to effectively sell. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, do I have the skills? Do I have the tools? Do I have the systems that I need to thrive as a freight broker doing sales in 2022? And most don't. Most of you listening right now do not have those tools in your toolbox right now. But that's the reason why I put together the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator training. That's where I take this piece of my brain and I transplant it into your head that teaches you all of my best freight broker sales strategies, tactics, tools, and the entire system. So you get the entire toolbox for being a part of the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. And all you have to do in order to learn more about the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator and to potentially be able to join is I'm going to be opening that up here in the next week to 2 weeks. I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks, we're going to open up an enrollment for the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. So for those of you that want to participate or be on the wait list in the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, because the only way you're going to get a chance to be a part of the program is if you are on the wait list. All you got to do is go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. It's free to get on the wait list. The training is not free, but once I open enrollment, you will get notified immediately and you will get all the details associated with the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. It is a 5-week coaching program where I'm going to take you personally and coach you through the entire process from A to Z, my entire system on how to get customers in freight broker using freight broker sales, modern freight broker sales strategies, tactics, and tools. Okay. So this program, just so you know, has sold out 3 times now as of today. And it usually sells out within 24 to 48, maybe 72 hours. The last time we sold out 100 spots in the program in about 48 to 72 hours. So if you are interested in that program, you absolutely need to be on the wait list. If you're not on the wait list, the chance of you being able to get enrolled are slim to none. And again, whatever you're asked to invest at that point, I promise you it'll be worth 10 times whatever I charge for it. Okay. I haven't finalized the price. I haven't finalized it yet, but you will be learning about that. So for those of you that are curious about the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, get on the wait list. If you are not ready for the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator and you're just looking to get started and you're still in that early startup phase, right? Where you got to get your bond or you're still looking to become an agent and you just don't have all those dots crossed, the T's crossed and I's dotted yet. All you got to do for my startup training is go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. That's where I've trained over 10,000 students in the last decade. Been in business again over a decade. I personally have done over $200 million as a freight broker. So I'm taking that knowledge and I'm sharing it with you. And we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money back guarantee on that Freight Broker Bootcamp startup training. So check that out. Again, Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, get on the wait list. If you're looking for Freight Broker Bootcamp startup training, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. And regardless of where you're watching this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that little bell to get notified. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be back next week with another free Freight Broker training.